Okay, good evening YouTube and welcome to episode 10 of the FPL family. Or maybe we should go all Apple and call it episode X.
Maybe.
What do you think? Maybe episode X. I quite like the sound of that. So episode 10 of FPL family. My name is Lee. This is Sam and we're coming off the back of, guys, another awesome FPL game week. So I think all the rhetoric leading up to game week, this is game week 6 we're talking about now in terms of our review of this video. Game week 6 we were talking about how do you fit those three in? Aguero, Kane, Lukaku. How do you get those guys in? Now we've got another guy coming to the party. You guys that have got Morata, fair player. 17-point haul, I think, right?
Unbelievable.
Hat-trick, obviously 3 bonus points. Chelsea looking really good. Fixtures looking pretty good after next game. I think they've got City next, but after that, looking good. So suddenly we've got this, well, if we thought we had a wealth of, you know, heavy hitting talent up front before, we've now got another guy coming to the party.
I mean, it's unbelievable, really, isn't it?
It's so hard. And also, look at that midfield. Mkhitaryan, all right, blank this game week, but can't ignore him. Silva getting the assists in the City side, looks nailed on as well. Salah scoring again for Liverpool. Eriksen and Ali doing the business at Spurs. Hazard to come back, and we haven't even talked about Arsenal. Arsenal haven't even played.
Well, and don't forget about Coutinho.
Oh, Coutinho coming back to the fore. The little magician's back. 8.8 in FPL, guys. What great
honestly,
value he could be.
There's so much going on out there. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. And you guys know we shoot this. You guys that watch us regularly, you will know that we shoot this on a Sunday night. So what we'll do is we'll do our reaction to the game week so far. The Arsenal-West Brom game is to come on Monday night, and we'll normally cover that, as well as a bit about next game week in the Periscope that we'll do later in the week. So you never know. We could be sitting here, you know, 24 hours from now. Sanchez could have scored. Lacazette could be on the radar.
And obviously we've got Champions League again in the week.
Yeah,
so that's going to have some big impacts to come.
But this is why we love the game, guys. This is why FPL is so good, because there's so many options out there and you just cannot have them all. All of a sudden, does Hamed become essential? He's got those
nailed on.
Hamed is nailed on, essential in our FPL teams. 4.9 or whatever he is, right? Who knows? I don't know.
Oh,
so we've now got so much choice in those front 3 brackets. Even the likes of Tammy Abraham is scoring again for Swansea. I don't know, there is just lots and lots of options. People are getting off of Firmino, people getting on Vardy despite the penalty miss. So we're going to try our best to review what we've just seen in game week 6. We'll update your radar. We'll talk about the players that are coming to the fore from an FPL perspective. We'll review our teams, of course. We're going to try, guys, to remember to review the FPL Family League.
I did check just before we started filming. It's not updated yet, so I'll have a look. I'll have a look towards the end of the video and see if it's updated.
All right, I've got my laptop here, so hopefully it will have updated. It's definitely updated from yesterday, right? So
yeah.
What is it today? Brighton and Newcastle?
It just doesn't include the Brighton and Newcastle results at the
Can't see that making a massive change, but maybe it will.
Well,
so we can.
Hamed fans will be.
Yeah, the Hamed fans will be killing me. Yeah. So we we'll talk about the league as well. We do plan to do it every week, and we just always forget, don't we?
We just get excited.
We just get too excited about the upcoming game week. It's stupid. So we'll talk about game week 6, what we've just seen, all those heavy hitters coming to the fore, making it so hard, but so exciting for us as FPL managers. We'll try and, if we can, wrap it up in a kind of 45-50 minutes. We'll talk about the game week that's coming up as well. We'll do your radar. We'll have a bit of a view. You're still undecided on your jammy pick, aren't you? So maybe we'll chuck a few out there.
I've got a few options we can talk about. And I might not come to a decision tonight. I might wait until after tomorrow.
And tell us what you think, guys. If you've got a jammy pick or a differential for game week 7, then let us know. I'm going to come out pretty quick and say, you know, I've got a pretty good feeling as where my top points pick is for game week 7.
Oh, poor Palace.
Poor old Palace. It is not getting any easier for them. And did you see Benteke, I think, got like a ligament injury. So
when's Zaha coming back? Is he ever coming back?
Oh, will he want to come back?
Well, who knows?
I don't know if he'll even want to play. So we'll kind of dissect the Palace and Man City game as well, and look ahead to the Palace schedule, because Roy Hodgson definitely won't want to do that. All right, let's get into it. Let's start there. Man City versus Palace.
Do you want to talk about teams first?
Oh, go on then. How did you get on? Yeah, go on.
So all right this week. I've got 68, which is fine. I'm a little bit annoyed.
It's pretty good, right? 68.
Yeah.
Kane captain?
Obviously, and I'm thrilled with him.
Nice.
I did go a bit mad, especially when that first goal went in, because as you all well know now, I've got Dele and I've got Kane, so that was quite nice.
It was 2 Dele Alli assists, wasn't it?
Well, only one of them counted because it was the rebound off the keeper, wasn't it?
Okay.
However, okay game week. I'm a little bit gutted because, as you all well know, for weeks now I've been talking about how I really want Morata in my team, and the plan was for after this game week, because obviously Chelsea and Man City coming up, so I was planning for him for game week 8 when they've got Palace.
Yes.
So it's a bit annoying. More annoying than ever for me was Alonso this week.
Yeah.
Now I know I'm very lucky actually, that he didn't get sent off and cost me points.
I thought you were going to moan about that, about him going off on 59 minutes.
I am going to moan about it.
You
still.
cannot moan.
Oh,
He's very, very lucky boy to have not been sent off in that game.
He's very lucky, but you know, have some respect for fantasy managers out there and wait a minute for your substitution. Really? 1 minute, 5 points. It would have made a difference.
What you're saying, Conte should be looking at his watch going, one more minute.
He's seen my bad books now. Seriously, I'm going to have a word. But yeah, so Alonso's a bit annoying, and actually, I know that I can't really complain too much, but at 7, he's a lot of money, and to have him blanking on a week where there was a lot of defenders out there keeping clean sheets. Annoying. All
right, well, let's dissect the Chelsea game when we get to that, because Alonso's definitely going to feature in that. I'm on 76 points. I'm out as well, so I haven't got any West Brom or Arsenal players. So, yeah, I was pretty happy with that, to be fair. I'm doing my hokey-cokey. So I've had Lukaku out, Aguero in.
Captain 2 this week?
So I captained Aguero, so pretty happy with that. He could have had more, to be fair. And when we come to the City game, I mean, that could have been a cricket score, that game. It's unbelievable. Obviously, I was nervous when Lukaku scored early doors. I was thinking, oh, here we go. You know, Lukaku's going to get 2 or 3. As it happened, I think those of you that switched Lukaku to Aguero, be pretty happy with that, I would say. You're probably going to want Lukaku back next game week, is my view. That's why I'm doing the whole team hokey-cokey thing and getting him in and out, and I'll be putting Lukaku back in for next game week, probably for Aguero. And I'll be sticking on Kane because I think he performs away from home. We've seen that. So you guys that did Kane to Aguero for game week 6, I guess you're happy with the Aguero returns, but you've got to be unhappy with the Kane returns because Kane smashed it, like 13 points or whatever, right? So it looks like of those 2 of the 3 big hitters, those were the 2 to have, Aguero and Kane. But you guys that have gone a bit rogue and gone Morata, fair play. That's absolutely the way to go. So now, how do we choose between those 4?
Well, it's really tough.
It's really, really tough. So, yeah, 76 points. Reasonably happy with that. Reasonably happy. Green arrows, I think, for a change.
Green arrows for both of us.
Green arrows for a change, yeah. There's a lesser spotted green arrow on the FPL Family League.
And I think, actually, when it comes to it, you just need to kind of... I'm starting to come to terms with the fact that I can't have all of these big hitters. So when I see Lukaku getting stuff, I'm kind of like, I'm all right with that as long as my big hitters are doing something.
Sure, yeah, if they blank, then yeah.
Exactly, and then that's when I think I need to react. So I'm at a stage now where I'm not feeling I need to react on other players because Kane is at the moment doing the business.
Yeah.
My concern is Firmino.
Okay, well, we'll come to Firmino when we come to that in a second. I've got a bit of a theory about that, about Mane coming back. So why don't we rattle through these games then? So City and Palace, poor old Palace, they just... What is going... I mean no goals still, I don't think. No goals.
No goals.
No points.
No points.
No hope, I don't think. And next 2 fixtures, they're away at United, home to Chelsea, I think.
Yeah.
And then I think it gets a little bit brighter for them. But by then, they could be, and we said this last week, they could be 8 games through with no goals.
I mean, it's not that much brighter. I think they've got to go to Newcastle after that, which still isn't... That's still a tough game.
Look. Yeah, Newcastle, and then at home to West Ham, and then away at Spurs.
I mean, it's not easy. And you could optimistically, well, pessimistically maybe, but you could easily see them getting nothing.
Well, look, I saw enough again from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I mean, he hit a post. He was actually a bit unlucky. I saw enough from Ruben Loftus-Cheek to suggest that I think he's going to be a decent asset going forward at 4-5 in terms of value. I mean, if you haven't got him, you definitely stay clear for the next couple of game weeks. But look at that Palace side. He's looking good. Benteke, as we said, it looks like he's got a cruciate ligament or some sort of ligament damage. So we're waiting to hear on the extent of that.
I mean,
but
that's terrible
feasibly,
for them.
they could be without a striker. So they're looking at probably playing somebody like Sacco up front, 4.9 midfielder, I think he is in the game. So he actually could be a decent out-of-position differential. But I don't know, looking at it, will he play Zaha there, false 9? Will he play Ruben Loftus-Cheek there, false 9?
When's Zaha back? Do we have any idea?
I think he's looking at training. I think he tweeted, so he's kind of making his way back. But will he want to play? Will he want to play in this team? I don't know. I mean, so listen,
he might just give him a bit of inspiration, mightn't he?
Potentially, yeah. Your best player coming back's got to do that. So let's not dwell too much on Palace because I don't think they're going to be much from an FPL perspective.
But City, I mean, obviously Aguero.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're looking at fantasy assets, obviously Aguero. Silva's looking like the other one that you really...
Keeping those assists ticking over, isn't he? Silva, fantastic.
Constantly being picked. He's not...
Yes, absolutely. That's the key.
Pep's rotation.
Easy to say.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why that was so difficult tonight. He's not part of Pep's rotation. He seems to play every week. Whereas your other players, you are kind of thinking, am I at risk of a rotation here?
Yeah. And I think Pep even came out and said something like, I've got 5 or 6 great strikers here. Bernardo Silva, I've got, and he's out there creating, and he's really good. And I've got Jesus, who's phenomenal, and I've got Aguero, and I've got Silva and Sané who come in and do a great job. So even in Pep's mind, he's like, I got all these great strikers, and he came out and said something like, I want them to be fit and fresh all the time, particularly in the second half of the season. So this merry-go-round is going to go on and on. I mean, you guys that have got Jesus.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. If you've got him, you're hanging on to him for game week 6 thinking, that's a plum fixture. You want him for that. Rested. I don't even know if he came on.
No, he didn't play at all.
So yeah, absolutely. So if you're on Jesus, do you stick on him? I think you do because he's undoubtedly a decent player.
But are there better assets out there at that money? I know that he's going to get points, and this is where the conflict comes with me and City, because I know that they're fantastic. I know they're going to pick up points. But if they get rotated and they don't play for 90 minutes, do I want that amount of money sat on the bench when I could move it on to somebody who is going to play every week, guaranteed? It's so difficult with City. It's so hard.
And if you look at the likes of Sané and Sterling, whenever they've come in, they've performed.
All of them.
Well, I don't know about Delph. Delph's a bit of a random one. But Sterling and Sané in particular look very, very attacking. Would be a fantastic FPL assets if only Pep would stop rotating. But he just won't.
He won't stop rotating. And I can't see it getting any better, actually, the rotation.
No, because I think it's in his mind that he wants them all to be fresh. So if you're gonna go for someone that's locked in, you either got a good KDB, which is the thing we all had at the beginning of the season about do we pick him, or probably not because he's a bit deeper, or it seems. But Silva seems to be doing the job that we thought KDB was going to do. So I think if you want someone safe, you've got to go Silva really in that City attack.
And he's not that expensive in comparison.
He's sort of A1. Yeah, he's A1.
So you could get him in your team. I don't know. It's so hard.
And just before I was coming on, I asked one of the guys on Twitter, at FPL_El who's one of my mates on Twitter, and he does this really cool comparison chart, and we'll put it hopefully on the left-hand side. You'll be able to see it in a sec when we edit this video. A Silva versus Mkhitaryan kind of, not a heat map, but kind of a stats map, if you like, or a graphical kind of illustration of the two head-to-head. It's incredibly, incredibly close, actually. It's incredibly close. I want to try and find it because it's a really interesting... It's a really interesting piece because I'm actually looking at if I want Silva for those 2 home games. I probably don't want him for the Chelsea game.
Sure.
But if I want him for those 2 games after that, which I absolutely do, then I'm probably going to look to drop Mkhitaryan, if not Eriksen. Do I want to drop Eriksen right now? Probably not. Salah's scoring as well, so I don't want to drop Salah. So Mkhitaryan might be the one to go. Very, very difficult to pick out, which of these two are the guys that are going to be scoring. I mean, if you look at that,
is that it?
If you look at that, hopefully you guys can see it now on the left-hand side.
Goodness.
So points is very close. Assists-wise, you're going to have, Silva looking better on assists, but Mickey's right up there with him. Creativity slightly better. Mickey's got the 1 goal that I think, is it 1 or 2? Or maybe he's got some goals, right, that he scored last week. Silva yet to score, but actually goal threat wise, Silva is looking, even more threatening than Mkhitaryan.
It's really difficult.
It's a very, very close call that, and they're very close in terms of value.
And I feel very much, and I know for weeks I was saying I wasn't worried about City, and I wasn't worried about having City coverage, but now I feel very much like they are the form team at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're banging goals in for fun, and I feel a bit like I've got Otamendi now to kind of cover their clean sheets, although I'm not sure they'll get one next week, to be fair. But I feel very much like I need some form of City attack. And for me, the only 2 viable options coming out of City at the moment are Aguero and Silva. Because of the rotation. Yeah,
absolutely. But I think you make a good point there about the way that City seem to be ruthlessly going after their opponents and smashing them, whereas United are kind of, 1 or 2-0, and then they get a few goals towards the end. So they are getting 4-0s, as we've seen already, but City seem ruthlessly going after these opponents.
But as we saw against against the Saints this week from Man United, if they don't get those 2 or 3 2 goals early on, they don't go in the same way that they have done in the past. So then you can end up with a 1-0 from United. But for City, it just seems that it's like goals for fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you look at some of these stats on here, penalty area actions, average per game, so this is kind of touches in the box, 7.2 for both. Attempted assists, Mkhitaryan 3.3 versus Silva 3.8. This is courtesy of the guys at Fantasy Footy Fix, by the way, so thank you to you guys, and thank you to El Stato as well for providing these stats. Very, very difficult decision that I'm going to have to make, I think, in a game week's time if you want to have Silva.
But I certainly think I'm not doing anything more in terms of City until after the Chelsea game.
Yes, I think so. All right, that's plenty of talk about City. You guys that bought Aguero in, probably pretty happy with that. As a captain, I think he got 11 points, so I think you'll be pretty happy with that.
In the comments, though, if you're going to keep on him now with the Chelsea game coming up or not.
Yeah, given that they got 2 really nice fixtures after that. Yeah. So let's talk about Chelsea then. So gone to Stoke, which is a tricky game, and basically smashed them up. I mean, that's a fantastic result for Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was surprised. I actually thought that Stoke would do a better job of dealing with Chelsea. But then I guess if you go...
Chelsea were very, very good, I thought.
They were. And
a goal after 2 minutes helps, right?
Well, yeah, 82 seconds. Second fastest goal in the league this season, it was. You know, and I guess if you go 1-0 down on 82 seconds, you're going to feel a little bit...
Yeah, hard to recover.
But, you know, what is there to say about Morata, apart from that he just looked fantastic during that game?
He absolutely really looks a business. Absolutely looks a business.
And Pedro also, I thought, looked fantastic in that game. You know, I know... Again, Chelsea assets, I think... Again, I've talked already about Alonso. I've only got him at the moment, but I have been talking for weeks now about Morata, and how I really felt that he was a really positive asset. And I think I did. I can't remember if I spoke on the vlog or if I just spoke to you about it during one of our normal chats about Pedro and whether he was a viable asset. He obviously is.
Do you not think that Chelsea midfield is still a bit rotation risky?
I do, and particularly with Hazard coming back, and that's why absolutely. I haven't gone anywhere near the Chelsea midfield yet. And I probably won't. I think my way into Chelsea, I still plan for it to be Morata.
But that's the difference, isn't it? At Chelsea, you might have that slight minefield in the same way that you do with Liverpool midfielders and City midfielders. But Morata is nailed on. I don't think they've got anybody that can really come and do what he's going to do.
No, sure.
I mean, Batshuayi, all right, yeah, he's there.
He's there.
A fair play to the kid. I mean, he got a hat-trick in the Carabao Cup, didn't he? So he's clearly making his point to Conte.
And I think he'll be used in the cup games.
Well, this is it. And I mean, for Premier League games, I think it's Morata all day long. Sure. So short of an injury, he's nailed on in the way that, Aguero isn't, actually. So if you're looking at the 4 big hitters, the one with the most rotation risk, it's Aguero, in my mind. The Spurs ain't dropping Kane anytime soon. United have to play Lukaku, in my opinion, unless they suddenly do a switch around with Rashford for some games. But again, that's going to be in the Cup, and he's playing both of them. So, and Morata's nailed on. So for me, the one with the most rotation risk is Aguero. But for me also, he's FPL royalty. He's the one that's the most explosive. He can get 3 or 4 goals in a game easily, and he's got that assist thing as well, part of his game, right?
This is why it's so tough.
It's great, though, isn't it? It's fantastic.
It is, and it's making for a really interesting season. But yeah, for me, Chelsea looking really, really strong in that game.
All right, very quick 30 seconds on Alonso. Then you're a bit peeved. He went off on 59, but you've got to admit he's a bit of a lucky boy not to get that second yellow.
100%. Yeah, absolutely 100% should have been sent off. I'm very glad that he wasn't. I am annoyed that they didn't leave him on the set pitch for 30 seconds longer. I don't know. I'm thinking about Alonso out this week simply because obviously they've got City coming up. I don't fancy him to keep a clean sheet.
No, okay.
And he's a lot of money, so I could get another Chelsea defender.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Azpilicueta, I think, looks like a fantastic option.
Well, I'm also thinking, do I want to stay in the Chelsea defence at all? Do I get out of Chelsea defence?
Maybe.
Do I go for someone like Davis at Spurs, free up some money, upgrade Firmino to Morata? That's where I am at the moment. Okay,
so Chelsea fixtures, Man City at home, which I get. Yeah, I think I'm with you there. I can't see a clean sheet for Chelsea. Can I see attacking returns for maybe Alonso? Yeah, why not? I mean, that's why we've got him in our teams. Those of you that have got him,
it's just tough, right? And I know that I'm reacting on a game week where he blanked. I do appreciate that, and I do appreciate that he's brought me good returns so far this season. However, I am now just starting to think with what's going on at the top of the game in terms of forward line. That 7, if I could downgrade it to a 5.5. I'm looking at a much better attacking lineup.
You can then invest it up front. Yeah, okay.
So that's where my head is at the moment. And
And if you look at the Chelsea game, the Chelsea fixtures, like you say, Palace away after the City game, Watford at home, Bournemouth away, United at home. So there's a nice 3 fixtures there between the City and the United games where I actually do think you'd want some Chelsea coverage. Actually, Alonso could be a great asset for those 3.
But then if I've covered it in Morata as well, I don't know. So you know what I'm like. I'll be indecisive for about 3 weeks on this. And I'm probably not likely to do... I'm certainly not likely to do Morata this game week. I'm looking at him for the following game week. So if I'm doing anything... If I do the Alonso thing, I'll probably do that this week.
Okay.
Maybe.
I think Azpilicueta would save you 0.6 as well. So...
Yeah. And this is what I mean.
Bad option, I don't think.
It's just giving you that availability of money and keeping the coverage.
Okay. I don't think there's too much to say about Stoke in that game, by the way.
Sorry, Stoke.
Doesn't seem to be too many options coming out of that game. The likes of Hesse and Choupo-Moting. It's a tough game for them, right? Chelsea were very, very on their game at the weekend.
I think they'll be all right next week, though.
Yeah, so who are they playing?
They've got Southampton at home, so...
Be a good game. We'll come to the next game week's preview in a bit. Let's talk about United quickly then. 1-0, Mr. Lukaku on the score sheet again.
Yeah, and you know... It goes back to what we've just been saying all this time, doesn't it? He's going to tick you over every week. If you've got him as an asset...
point score, isn't it? It's fantastic.
And let's be honest, I mean, they're just got to play Palace next week. Poor old Palace against Lukaku. He could easily get a hatful. Yeah,
I think if you go into next game week, United against Palace at Old Trafford without him, I mean, I'm going to have Mkhitaryan and Jones, so I'm pretty happy to keep those two for sure.
Me too.
Particularly Jones, fantastic value. Do I want Lukaku back in? I absolutely do. Absolutely do. This is why this hokey-cokey thing, we sat here a week ago and thought, is it a bonkers thing to do? But actually, Lukaku to Aguero, just about worked out for this game week. Aguero to Lukaku next game week, and then back to Aguero.
It's so hard, and yeah, I mean, Lukaku, for those of you that have got him in your fantasy team, he's a fantastic asset. He's ticking the points over every week in a way that other players aren't necessarily.
And he's highly owned as well. That's the key, isn't it? He's really highly owned.
And that's the thing, is that when he scored yesterday, I thought, and it was quite early on in the game, and I just thought, oh gosh, I was really pleased after the Spurs game, which we'll talk about in a minute. Because obviously, having had a captain that did well, I thought, he's not very highly owned anymore, so that's going to give me an advantage. To then see Lukaku score early on, I just thought,
here we go. Here we go.
Actually, it didn't happen like that, so that pleased me in some ways. But yeah, I mean, certainly great fantasy asset.
I thought the Saints were resolute again. I mean, good goal by Lukaku for sure. But the Saints look resolute again. They're defensive assets again. I think if you're on them, then I think you keep them.
I dropped Bertrand to the bench this week, but I have kept him. I just felt like with Southampton, what is going on with them going forward? They tried really, really hard in that game. They had great movement, but they've got no finishing.
Yeah, but this is United. No one scored against United, right? Yeah, so
I take that on board, but
they're not gonna. If they're gonna break their duck, it probably ain't gonna be against United.
Sure, but if you listen to the commentary on Soccer Saturday yesterday, they were talking. It was all just like, you've just got to have somebody to finish a ball.
Yeah, sure.
I do feel a bit sorry for the Southampton fans, actually, because I think they actually played quite well yesterday.
I certainly saw glimpses of, I not really an FPL asset, but again, Lamina, I think, were really good again, controlled that midfield. I really like the look of that player from a Premier League perspective, if not an FPL perspective. And again, those defenders, I think you stick with them. If you look at the Southampton fixtures coming up, they've got Stoke, Newcastle, West Brom, Brighton and Burnley. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, they will keep most of those teams out, I would suspect.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'd expect them to start scoring some goals against, one of those guys. I mean, Stoke, just got battered 4-0 at home, and then Newcastle just lost. I mean, you've got to think that the Saints are going to start scoring.
I was reading that they've lost 11 Premier League games so far this season, Southampton. And
say that again.
They've lost so far this year, 2017. They've lost 11 Premier League games. That's as many as they lost in the whole of last year. So the team hasn't fundamentally changed. They're majority of them are still the same players that were playing last year. There's not a massive difference there. I know that you've got the Van Dijk situation going on and all of that sort of stuff, which is unsettling. However, at the heart of that team, you've still got the same players, so you would expect there to be some improvement in Southampton, and I think there will be moving forward.
I think there will be too. All right, let's talk about so what have we done? Chelsea, we've done United. We must be missing someone there who could talk about. All right, let's talk about Spurs. Go on. Quickly as well, briefly.
Kane.
Yes. Happy with that. Good. And Mr. Ali as well, getting on the score sheet.
Ali got me an assist. No, got an assist. Eriksen
on the FPL score sheet,
Eriksen on the score sheet, of course.
Eriksen's finish was so smart, wasn't it? Oh, that's the hardest thing to do in the game, is that little side foot pass into the net, and he'd done it with such finesse.
But what was really
I love Christian Eriksen, brilliant player.
What was really interesting watching that game, from a fantasy point of view, is that all three of those goals, Kane, Ali, Eriksen, they were the times where West Ham just lost them. And if you lose those players,
too much space.
That's it. Because the first ball came from Eriksen, then Dele to Kane, and then Eriksen finished it.
And this was something that Swansea did really well, I thought, against you last game. They shut down that space for Eriksen in particular. But the first goal that you scored, the first goal that Spurs scored, I think Carroll did like a really hospital ball in the middle of the park, and Eriksen picked it up. And you could see it on Match of the Day. They did a bit of analysis. He picked up the ball, and there's just a massive ring around him of space. You give Eriksen that space, he will punish you, and he absolutely did.
And actually, what I will say about West Ham is that the second half they were much, much tighter, much more on us, and after the Eriksen goal, this is, and they improved dramatically. And actually.
But what? So why? So again, I was out on Saturday busy, and I was listening to that game in the car on 5 Live, and the guys were saying, at 3-0, Spurs were absolutely cruising, and then Aurier gets the red, and then I think Hernandez scores, then Aurier gets the red. All of a sudden, West Ham start playing, and actually they looked like they could get something from the game. Why did it take? all right, maybe not the Hernandez goal, but why did it take the Aurier goal for, the Aurier red for West Ham to actually, get the fingers out the backsides and do something?
I don't know. I think West Ham, they just seemed to lose their heads a little bit when we were 3 up. It was almost that kind of, fine. And we could have had, Harry hit the post twice. Yeah. It could have been more in that first half, particularly. And then, like you say, when Chicharito scored, that did make a difference for them. But the Aurier sending off made a huge difference because we played differently. So we set out our stall differently in order to cover him not being there and being down to 10 men, and they just started to play. And to be fair, they did look a lot better. And then they got the second goal, and actually had they had another, the cat. Sorry, that was the cat. If they had
trying to push the camera over.
If they had another five or so minutes in that game, I thought they probably would have equalised. It was only their mass brawl at the end that I think eventually the ref just had enough, blew the whistle, get it over.
Yeah, it was interesting to see how Poch reacted to that Aurier sending off, because what he immediately did was brought Christian Eriksen off and he put Harry Winks on. And I think for me there was two reasons for that. One is, I want to get much tighter in that midfield. Actually, I'm not interested in Eriksen creating anything now. I want someone that's going to be in there and tackling and, breaking up play and breaking it down. I think he was also thinking, I've got a pretty important trip coming up to Apoel Nicosia, I think you've got to go to, haven't you? So, I want to protect Christian Eriksen for that, given that, he's absolutely going to play in that game. And I think, I don't know, West Ham just suddenly found an extra gear, and the header, I think it was from Koyate, wasn't it?
Yeah,
fantastic header. But you could see Poch was kind of you just wanted to kind of shore it up, and in the end you got the result. For me, I don't know what's going on at West Ham. I mean, Bilic, I'm really not sure about this guy. Looking at the last few, after that Koyate goal, after the last few minutes after that, he was on the touchline screaming and shouting, "Come on, come on, come on!" If that was me, I think I'd want a manager saying, here's what I want you to do in the next few minutes, guys. Here's how I think we can exploit the space. Here's how I think Spurs are set up now. So do this and do that. Not just shouting, "Come on, come on, come on!" So, West Ham fans, tell us what you think. I'm becoming less and less of a fan of Bilic, and I think his head is on the block right now. If they don't start picking up results, could be the next casualty.
I mean, I think West Ham were a bit unlucky, to be honest, against us. I think
3-0 down. That's not unlucky. They were rubbish.
But I also think that when you're 3-0 down, the cat's back. You want players, you want a bit of spark going around, like Chicharito. I mean, 40 Premier League goals, they've all come from inside the box or something ridiculous. The stat is 100% inside the box. So you need the players around him to be giving him the ball in those areas, and they just weren't in that first 60 minutes or so.
Antonio going off early didn't help either.
That doesn't help. Whereas if you compare that to what's going on at Spurs, that you've got Eriksen, who is obviously an assist king, but I was reading something about Ali has 14 assists for Kane so far. Okay. You just...
In what time period is that? This year or something again, is it?
Yeah, since the start of 15-16 season. Actually in the last, 2 seasons and a little bit. And it's a big change. It's a big difference from what's going on at West Ham, and I think that's the key difference with the Hammers, is that they just need some magic from their midfielders.
Yeah, you can't compare the two. I mean, what's going on at West Ham is very, very different to what's going on at Spurs.
I think the difficulty for them is that if their midfielders are a bit more forward thinking in terms of where they're going towards Chicharito and they're putting the balls into him in those dangerous areas, they will get returns, because that boy can score a goal.
He certainly can be in the right place at the right time, can't he? Yeah. I think it is all about the service. But look, West Ham have got the fixtures to turn it around. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it now. It's Swansea at home, Burnley away, Brighton at home, Palace away, right? And You've got to turn it around, Hammers fans.
West Ham fans, you can take a lot of positives from those last 30 minutes or so.
Okay, let's rattle through the rest of them then. Liverpool, Leicester, let's not go too much into that very, entertaining game. I mean, as a Liverpool fan, I'd quite like just a 1-0. So, I mean, a clean sheet, win 1 or 2-0, that'd be fine. Just manage the game at 2-0. But no, even at 2-0, I think I tweeted that I wasn't comfortable. I was sitting there, wasn't comfortable.
You were very twitchy.
What happens, again, a flaky goal with, what could have been a foul on the keeper for the first Leicester goal, but I don't know if it was, to be honest. I think he just, Maguire got above them and got a decent header in. Mignolet, obviously the hero at the end. From an FPL perspective, Salah again looking very, very good, hard to ignore.
Become essential, really, hasn't he, Salah?
I think he's certainly getting towards that. I mean, he's certainly playing in that, he's wide, but he's really very central. He's getting into position, he's getting on the end of things, and with Mr. Coutinho back providing the ammunition for him and whoever else is up front, be it Firmino or Sturridge, I think more goals to come for Salah.
So my next question to you then is, Mane's due back, right? Next game week.
Yeah.
Coutinho, Mane and Salah all playing?
Yeah, absolutely. So what's going to happen is he's going to put Firmino back up top, which he did do to start off in the Leicester game. He brought Sturridge in and put Firmino out wide at one stage, but he's going to put Firmino back in the middle. I think he might have actually brought Firmino off for Sturridge. I can't remember because we've got Champions League as well to play. So I think he's going to play Firmino in the middle, Mane back left, Salah right, and Coutinho back in the middle. That's an exciting setup. I think it's a really exciting setup for us going forward. It's very creative. I think that's exactly where he wants Coutinho to play. He's probably going to put somebody like Channon and Henderson as the kind of enforcers around Coutinho that will sit and let Coutinho go and do what he needs to do. A very popular transfer this week is going to be Firmino to Vardy, and I can see it. I can absolutely see why he would do that.
But my big thing with Firmino is, if you've got Salah, Mane and Coutinho feeding that man the ball, he's surely going to score goals.
But that's not how we play. So that's not how we play. So what Firmino does is he's the guy that runs around like a nutter and creates space for those guys to score. So you're going to see far more goals from Mane and Salah. I'm already seeing it this year. You're going to see goals from Coutinho in the middle because he's on free kicks too. He's going to get goals. He will get assists as well. And the reason people are getting off Firmino is because, like you, they're looking at it and going, those three, servicing that guy, he's going to get hat-full goals. And he will get goals, he'll get points, and he'll get penalties, I think, because I think he's on penalties. So I don't think Firmino's a bad shout. 8.5, I still think he represents great value. But if you're looking at those three thinking they're going to all be servicing Firmino, that is not what you're going to see, I don't think. I think you're going to see far more movement from Firmino, creating the space for those other three. You're going to see more goals from Salah, more goals from Mane. Those are the two to watch out for, guys, I think.
Okay, interesting.
All right, so that's Liverpool. Leicester is all about the Jamie Vardy show. I mean, when he decided to turn it on second half, he really turned it on. Won the penalty, a bit predictable potentially with the penalty. They were talking about that on Match of the Day, how he likes this kind of hit and hope approach of just smashing it down the middle. Didn't work. Mignolet's obviously done his homework. Fair play to him. Any other Leicester assets from that game?
Well, I guess it's Okazaki, but
I really like. Do you know what? I really like Okazaki. He really puts a shift in, and he runs and runs and runs, and he's always willing to get on the end of stuff. I do like him.
The thing is that Leicester have got some nice fixtures coming up, so you do kind of feel like you want something in there from Leicester because if you look at
those coveted front three spots, you ain't going to put Okazaki in one of those three.
I agree.
You ain't. You're going to put Vardy potentially, but you're not going to put Okazaki.
No, I agree, and I think it's almost a shame that there's not really a Leicester midfielder out there that's doing the business this season, like in the year we have Mahrez doing it, because that would have
predictably Mahrez, now he's not putting himself in the transfer window, has gone off the boil. You mean shock?
Yeah, so that's almost a shame because those front three spots are so coveted that it would almost be good if there was a less with the fixtures Leicester coming up. It would be nice if there was one, but there's just not. So I think it's got to be Vardy really.
Yeah, they don't look in great form, do they, Leicester? If you look at their games so far, 1-1 draw, 1 loss, 4, I think. But you're right. If they're going to turn it around, then absolutely they've got the fixtures to do that. Bournemouth, West Brom, Swansea, Everton, Stoke. Right, so that's looking good. I can absolutely see why people are going Firmino to Vardy because the Liverpool fixtures look trickier. But with Mane coming back, I think Liverpool have already proved they can score against anybody. So I'm holding Firmino.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do about him yet.
All right, let's move on from that game. A quick word about Everton. The guy that wasn't even in the game.
Man.
The forgotten man, Nias, not even in the FPL game. I didn't know this because I was out on Saturday. I come back, looking on Twitter, see what's going on. Everton won 2-1. All right, who scored? Nias. Wonder how much he is. Not even in the game. Looked it up. Not even in the game, guys. So
how much did they add him in at?
I think he's coming at like 5.0 or something, or maybe 5.5. I don't know. So they stuck him in as a cheapie. Koeman. I mean, what is going on at that club? I mean, what is going on? Maybe that's my red goggles going on. But he spent £140 million on players or whatever, which I know compared to some others that looks modest. But 160 odd million on players, all players with absolutely no pace. And he's come out and he's shipped Nias off on loan or whatever it was last season. He's come back. He said, I don't want you, mate. He's 1-0 down at home to Bournemouth and he's just gone. You can imagine Koeman sitting there going, I've got nothing to lose. I've got nothing to lose. 1-0 down at home to Bournemouth. I've got to win this game. On you go, son. Prove me wrong. And he's gone on. And to be fair to him, he's scored 2 very, very good goals. So Nias, I don't think any of us are going to be clamouring for him in our teams, or are we? I don't know. 5.0 maybe he's an enabler.
Not on one game week. Surely nobody's going to go. 1 game week?
I guarantee you there will be some FPL transfers in. I guarantee it. It's got to be, isn't it?
I mean, in terms of that game, I know we're talking about the opposition now, but nice to see Josh King back on the score sheet for Bournemouth.
Yes, one highlight, I guess, if you want to take any highlights from that game,
Bournemouth
fans.
needed some highlights, and I think having Josh King back on the score sheets is a positive. Again, he's probably not an asset you can have this season now. He's a forward rather than a midfielder. But, Bournemouth can take some heart from that, I guess.
And again, it's interesting to see from an Everton perspective that the kids actually, so the younger players in that Everton squad, so the Calvert-Lewins and the Tom Davies, they are really making a difference there. So despite the Sigurdssons and the Rooneys and the Classens that have all been bought, in my view, a lot of creativity there, but no pace whatsoever in that Everton team. No pace. But Calvert-Lewin does inject a little bit of speed. Tom Davies is quick as well, both because they're young and they haven't had hamstring injuries yet. But they're really young. They can get on their bikes, and I thought Tom Davies changed that game when he came on. Yeah. Really, really different dynamic for Everton. So watch out for those guys, particularly as the Everton fixtures do look very good for some time actually. So they've got to play Burnley at home. Then it's Brighton away. They've got a game against Arsenal, which looks tricky, but then it's Leicester and Watford. So the Everton fixtures don't look bad, guys. Keep an eye on those guys.
Okay.
Swansea and Watford. Tammy Abraham on the score sheet.
So, I was really surprised by this game. Really surprised. I was expecting a Swansea victory. I was really impressed by Swansea last week, and I thought it was going to be a home winner. Played Tom Carroll. Well done, Watford. Kudos to them. Nice to see Richarlison on the score sheet.
Yes, right at the death, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's only had 3 shots on target this season. He scored twice.
Has he? Okay, well he's clinical. If not getting the shots in, but he's clinical. Yeah, okay.
He's decent. Gray scoring for Watford. I don't know. I didn't necessarily see anything in that game that made me think,
lots of FPL assets there.
No, not really. I just thought from a football point of view, it was a really interesting game.
Yeah, I think
not as expected.
We said it before about Watford. I really like what Silva's doing there. I think he's getting them set up really, really well. And I know that Hull went down under Silva, but you could see what he was trying to do with that Hull side was very different, and it seemed to be working in some games. And they're a bit unlucky to go down in the end, given that they were dead effectively when he went in there. And you can see what he's doing at Watford. We've said it before. They've got this kind of strength and pace and experience, but then they've got the Richarlisons that are kind of the wild card. No one's really heard of this kid before, but he's come in and he's doing the business. Andre Gray is a very shrewd signing, knows where the net is, Premier League experience. Scored at the weekend, first goal in 6 attempts for Andre Gray. So I kind of like what's going on there. And if you look at the fixtures, let's have a look. Okay, so it looks a bit tricky going forward. West Brom away, Arsenal, Chelsea, Stoke, Everton. So a bit of a tricky fixture period for Watford, but keep an eye on their assets. Kiko Firmino as well. Looks good at the back, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I do think there's potential at Watford this season. Just keep an eye on them.
And from a Swansea perspective, I thought Tammy Abraham coming on and playing with Bonnie gave them a very different dynamic. So as soon as they went 2 up front, it totally changed the game, I thought. Changed their shape. Watford couldn't deal with those 2 up front, and it's no surprise to see that, I don't think Bonnie was credited with an assist in the end because it came back off the keeper. Yeah, but Abraham was there, right place, right time. Those two, if Clement can get that working together, if he can get Sanchez, who I saw didn't start the game at the weekend, but if he can get those sorts of players, and this they brought in a lot of new players, if they can get that system working, there's light at the end of the tunnel, I think, for Swansea.
I think they'll be fine this season, Swansea. They look really strong the other week.
The game today, Brighton versus Newcastle. I don't think too much to say from an FPL perspective. The cheapest nailed-on striker in the game, Hemed, has scored. So is he an option as an enabler? Go on then, fire away. Right. Love your stats.
So he's been. I'm not supposed to read it, am I? I'm supposed to look at you.
Supposed to just know it, okay?
Okay, so he's been involved in 3 goals in the last 2 home games, 2 goals and an assist, but he's had a hand in 20 goals.
This feels so, off the top of your head. This is so.
20 goals in the last 28 starts at the Amex Stadium.
Has he?
Yeah, 15 goals and 5 assists.
All right.
So,
all right.
Brighton on a home game.
Maybe a shrewd signing if you're looking for a big hitting midfield guys, right? He's the cheapest guy, one of the cheapest strikers in the game that plays. So if you're looking at Sanchez and Hazard and Silva and all those guys in the middle, maybe Hemed as a third striker with a couple of big ones up front isn't such a terrible idea.
Particularly on a home week.
All right.
The only other game to just briefly mention is that Burnley and Huddersfield happened.
Yeah, not much to say about that.
It happened.
I was just going to have a quick word about Newcastle before we move on. Brighton Newcastle, because we sat here, I think, a week ago saying there's some great value up there. I still think there is, by the way. And your jammy pick, Richie, didn't come in for you, but he looked good. He's banging in those corners. Hostelou was a bit isolated, I thought, this game week. Atsu maybe a bit unlucky with a couple of chances. So
I think we were both quite surprised, actually, at the result today. Well, I certainly was anyway.
I thought Newcastle might get something from it.
I did too,
I thought they might. And again, if you've got Richie, I don't think you ship him out, given they're playing Liverpool next, and our penchant to concede from a corner is very, very high. So if you've got Richie whipping them in and Lascelles on the end of them, that's absolutely a threat when it comes to playing Liverpool. So if you've got Lascelles or Richie, keep an eye on those guys. They could well be good jammy picks, I think, for next week. 2 weeks in a row, Richie is a jammy pick.
We talked about them last week, didn't we? Richie, Atsu and Lascelles, they went on the radar last week, and they were all people that we had as potential jammy picks.
Okay. Like you say, Burnley versus Huddersfield. I got another clean sheet from Ben Mee, so I'm happy with that. I'm taking that. But I don't think we're going to spend too much time talking about that game from an FPL perspective.
I mean, I know that a few people were asking me about Chris Wood on the back of the last couple of games.
How did he look? You got any stats on him?
Yeah. He only had
of course
two.
You have. So well rehearsed, that wasn't it? Go on.
Stop it. He only had 2 touches in the box the whole game.
In the Huddersfield game?
Yeah.
God blimey. All right, okay, yeah.
So if you're not getting anything to your striker, you're in trouble, aren't you?
Yeah, okay. Well, if he's not there to receive it either, maybe he's dropping too deep. I'd like to see a heat map on that, but I've in no way analysed that game because it was far too boring.
And I think if a lot of people got Moy, a lot of people I think still got Moy.
Would you stick on him now? I mean, he's becoming a bit of a frustrating player to own, isn't he? Because he's one good game, but now...
Okay, so he's relatively cheap, isn't he, in terms of the game? So there are cheaper out there, so if you want to save some money and go cheaper. But I think if you're going to go Huddersfield, it's him.
No winning 4 for Huddersfield now. There were two stonking game weeks 1 and 2. Brilliant. 2 wins, back-to-back wins. Now no winning 4. 3 draws, but no winning 4 for them.
Yeah, I mean, he's since they've come up, he's created 14 goal-scoring opportunities for Huddersfield, which is more than anyone else in the Huddersfield team. So I think he is the man to have if you're going to have Huddersfield, but I think there are better options out there.
And if you look at the fixtures coming up, they've got Spurs, Swansea, United, Liverpool, West Brom, so it's not getting too much harder than that. The Swansea game is away, Spurs at home, United at home, Liverpool away. That's tough. I think if you've got Aaron Moy, there's probably some better options in that sort of bracket. Richie, Brady, Atsu, those sorts of guys.
Okay, that's the end of that game week.
All right, and then we've got Arsenal and West Brom, haven't we, on Monday, so tomorrow night. So we'll do a Periscope in the week, we'll talk about that game. In the brief time we've got left, do you want to rattle through next game week? Just talk very briefly about where we might get the points, or do you want to do that in a Periscope? What do you want to do?
No, let's have a...
very quickly, let's talk about next game week. What's going to happen?
So I think it kicks off with Huddersfield and Spurs. Saturday lunchtime.
Away? Spurs away?
Spurs away, so we should see some back in Kane. The only thing I would say, obviously we've got Champions League this week, so you may see some rotation because it's a very early game for us on the back of the Champions League.
You're playing Saturday lunchtime on the back of an away trip in the Champions League?
To Greece, yeah.
Seems a bit unfair,
so that's a bit unfair, but c'est la vie. It's just something to think about. Obviously, Dele's going to be fine because he's not going to play. Jan's going to be fine because he's suspended. But just something to consider.
Do you get Kieran Trippier in for a couple of game weeks because Aurier's out, right?
That's a very valid point.
But if you've got Davies, you probably don't.
No, but if you've got Trippier and you were thinking about shipping him out off when he didn't start on Saturday, I think you keep him now because Aurier's gone for a couple of games.
Yeah.
Other big games from the weekend, well, obviously it's United and Palace. Bless Palace. We've already talked about it, but I can only see it going one way.
I hope for their sake it's not another massacre. I mean, I fear for them a little bit because United are, can be pretty ruthless, and we've already seen that they're more than happy to smash teams up 4-0.
Horses are running again, I think. I
think watching the City game at the weekend, it was almost a bit like almost like turn it off now. He's dead. They're dead. Please stop. It was like. And City could have had any. It could have been 8 or 9. That it could have been 8 or 9 that game easily.
What has he got into?
So I think Palace are genuinely looking at these fixtures and going, right, we ain't going to get anything from this. We're going to do our best to get something out of the Chelsea game, and then it's West Ham, and we're going to go and play that game, and our season starts then. I almost think they're writing these games off a bit, and that is a worry for me as a non-Lukaku owner. That would be a worry. So I'm absolutely going to be putting Lukaku back in my team for this week.
Okay, so that's obviously a big game in terms of fantasy points. I think the other game that's going to offer some real interesting fantasy decisions is Chelsea and City.
Cool, what a big game that is. Fantastic game.
Lots of people will have, like I do, City defender, Chelsea defender. I can't see either of them keeping a clean sheet.
Okay.
I can just see goals in that game.
I can see some goals too. It's a very interesting one to call that because, Chelsea don't... I was going to say they don't seem to have quite the va-va-voom that Man City have got, but they are clinical and they've got a guy up front that is banging them in, and whenever they create chances, they seem to be very, I'm going to use the word again, very clinical in terms of putting them away. Whereas City just, stupid to say because they won 5-0, but that's just a bit wasteful against Palace because they could have had, they create so much. Even when Palace were parking the bus, they were still finding a way through there, and they still won 5-0. So are they going to create as many chances against Chelsea? Probably not. So they're going to have to be more clinical. Is there going to be fewer chances in the game? Probably. So therefore, I don't know. I sort of feel like Chelsea might get something out of that game. I'm maybe going to sit on the fence and say a draw. But if you had to say definitely who's going to win, I think I would go Chelsea. I think Chelsea look fantastic at the moment. Really, really good.
I just think that from both a footballing and a fantasy perspective, that will be a really interesting game.
Should be a very good game.
It should put the cat amongst the pigeons.
Another game to just highlight, Everton at home to Burnley. So could there be some Everton jammy picks, potentially? We've mentioned Calvert-Lewin. We've mentioned Tom Davies, who, in my view, should now get a start, given his performance when he came off the bench in the game at the weekend. So... one of those youngsters, they've got to be under 5% ownership, I would guess. So potential for some jammy picks there. Arsenal are at home to Brighton. So Brighton coming off the back of a decent result against Newcastle. Let's see how Arsenal perform against West Brom. And then they've got to play Thursday as well, right?
And so again, for them it's a bit unfair. They've got Monday night game and then playing on Thursday. And then playing on Sunday.
It's why you have the squad. It's why you have the squad.
Sure. And it'd be interesting to see whether is Sanchez going to start tomorrow. Is he going to hold him, and is he going to start in the week? I mean, it's all very interesting, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, tough to say, because there's going to be 2 Arsenal games between when we're shooting this and when they play that game against Brighton. So let's not make too much of a judgment on their fancy assets. But if you're going to have a jammy pick, it could be a Ramsey or somebody from there. Although I don't know if he's under 5%, but it could be some Arsenal assets there. Who else can we talk about? Liverpool, Newcastle. That'd be an interesting one. I'd like to think that Newcastle have got enough confidence at the minute to actually come out and play against us, which would be great for us because I actually think with Mane back that would suit us down to the ground. So I actually think we could get a decent result in that game. Any other games next game week? I mean, like I say, we'll do a Periscope in the week. We'll have a bit more detail about what's going to happen in game week 7. But is there any other fixtures that sort of catch your eye immediately?
Well, if I were Bournemouth, I'd be very worried about the visit of Vardy.
Yes. Bournemouth do look a little bit shaky down at the moment.
Bournemouth just aren't looking right still, and Vardy dragging Leicester along. Therefore, like you said earlier, they were a bit unlucky against you yesterday.
Yeah, okay. Right.
So I can only see that game one way. And I think Stoke and Southampton could be quite an interesting game. I could actually just see that being a 0-0 because I can see them just blanking each other out.
Yeah, potentially. All right. Well, we'll cover all this in a bit more, guys, in a Periscope during the week. So if you're not following us already, get to @FPL Family on Twitter and get to @FPL Family on Instagram.
I've just realised we've not done my radar, so there it is in all its glory. I'll just pop some players up on it.
We haven't even discussed the radar.
We haven't even discussed the radar. Oh. So here it is.
Well, I think what we're going to have to do is it's going to flash up throughout the video, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll just we'll flash it up, but we'll also hear that. I will put it up in its full glory at the end.
What a couple of amateurs, honestly.
And but I can talk about it in our Periscope in the week.
Yeah, we can't just do the whole video with just here's the radar right at the end. We're going to have to...
Well, we sort of can. We sort of could do it, and we just put it up at the end, and then I'll cover it on... I guess we'll do it maybe Thursday at Periscope after the Champions League or something.
I like it when the radar pops up throughout the video.
I know
this is going to be very hard to edit this video, isn't it? It's going to be very hard to edit. Right, on that bombshell, keep following us, keep liking, keep subscribing. Thank you to all you guys that are following us on Twitter. Thank you to all the subscribers. I think we're near 250 now, so that's awesome. Thank you guys for all of your contributions. @FPL Family on Twitter, @FPL Family on Instagram. Let's hear about your squads. How did you get on in game week 6?
Oh, we haven't done the league.
Oh, we always forget the league, and I almost done it again. Go on, who's top of the league? We always do it. This is ridiculous.
Every week. Right, hang on. Let's get the league up.
I hope there's something good to report here because I'm now excited about hearing about
and it's up to date as well. Okay,
excellent.
Great.
Right, cool. Well remembered, by the way.
There you go. There's an up-to-date league.
Okay, cool. So we've got 3 guys joint at the top on 398 points. Guys, that is a start to the season, by the way. 398 points. So we've got a team that's just called XI, which I'm guessing is kind of 11. Rock Godnick. So fair play to Rock. Let's have a look at his team. 75 points this week. Schindler 9 at the back. What an absolute touch.
Anybody left to go?
No. So no Arsenal, West Brom. Silver in the middle. Ericsson looking good. Rock. And then we've got Boys United in joint first 2 with a guy called Deschwell. I'm not going to even try and pronounce that surname. Deschwell Grunewald, I think you say it. His team, Boys United, got 87 points this week. Ericsson, Salah, Morata, captain, Tammy Abraham. Nice work, nice work. And then we've got Matthew Dewar, who's been there or thereabouts, actually, at the top of the league for some time.
I actually think he was top yesterday.
I think so, actually. I think so. So his team, overpriced flops. How are you guys getting on? 64 this game week. Alonso. Ouch. But Jones,
You're in my camp.
Silva, Aguero, captain, Lukaku. Okay, so decent score.
So none of these guys at the top seem to have any players from tomorrow, so...
Yeah, so then we've got Let's Get Messy. Ian Daniel is on 397, just a point behind them, 81 this week, so decent score. Morata captain, yeah, not surprising to see you guys captaining Morata getting to the top of our league.
I can see an Arsenal player in there, so you're done.
So yeah, who's Ian got? Kolasinac. Okay, so as long as Kolasinac gets more than 1 point, he's going to be top of our league. So Let's Get Messy. Great name that, isn't it?
Yeah,
Let's
brilliant.
Get Messy. So Ian Daniel could be very well top of the league by the time we do a Periscope in the week. Well remembered. Excellent. I knew
I was here for something.
I've been very upset if we'd have missed that again, guys, because I've had people on Twitter saying, you set up a league and you never talk about it on your vlogs. Right, guys, that's it from us. Thank you for joining us. Remember to like, remember to subscribe. Keep those comments coming at FPL Family on Twitter, at FPL Family on Instagram, and we will see you during the week. Cheers.
Take care, guys.